Hey, hi, hello, and good afternoon. My name is Amanda, and welcome to The Done Creative. For today's pick a card reading, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be asking the question, why did this thing happen to me? And we always want to know about all these good things coming up in our lives and where we're going, and sometimes before we can get where we're going, we need to realize or understand why things in our past that maybe we're still bringing and carrying with us have happened so that we can heal those things to create more space for the things that we want in our lives. So this reading hopefully will help you zero in on why something happened to you and even some advice on how to overcome this thing so you can move forward in your life and create the most beautiful life you could ever imagine. And I subscribe to the belief that we choose the life that we come into and incarnate, that our soul basically makes a contract before we incarnate that has a bunch of, points that it wants to hit and things it wants to experience in this incarnation. And whether you believe that or not, you don't have to, but it does help us realize that a lot of the bad things that we have happened to us, it's not that we somehow attracted those things to us or that we've been bad and karma's out to get us. Karma works both ways, good and bad, but it's usually our soul's conscious decision before incarnation to take on that karma to resolve it in this lifetime. Don't look at it as a punishment and all the bad things that you've ever done or have happened to you as any sort of punishment. It's just your soul's way of balancing the scales, because we've all in past lives been that murderer. We've all been that victim. We've played every kind of role and worn every kind of hat imaginable. And in this lifetime, we're wearing this very specific hat. So some examples of questions you might want to ask is, why did this relationship end? Why did this bad thing happen to me? Be very specific to your circumstance. Things like that. And again, just remember this is a general reading, so take what resonates out of what I say and leave the rest, because I already am feeling some very specific information coming through for each of these piles. If you're new to pick a card readings, I just ask that you close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths to really center your energy and really tap into that intuition. And you're going to be choosing between piles number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Or if more than one of these piles call out to you, please choose them both. You may want to ask 4 different questions regarding, why did this breakup happen? Why did this other bad thing happen in my life? Stuff like that. You can think of 4 things that have happened in your life that maybe you didn't deem as the most positive and assign a number to them. Or you can just choose one and then pick your pile. However you want to do this, this is for you. So you do this the way you want. And I will go ahead and give you a minute to decide. So I will see you at the reading. Okay, group number 1, let's see why this thing happened to you. And I did deal the tarot cards in reverse, so you can get a really good idea of why this thing happened to you. And then we'll use the oracle cards to kind of tell a story, maybe supporting why this thing happened to you, but also come up with information as to how you can heal from this thing. So let's get started with the tarot cards. And you guys actually had 2 pop out, so we'll see what we got. So we have Temperance and the Hierophant, and of course both in reverse. And I always like to look at the numbers. So the Hierophant is a 5, and then Temperance is 14. But you add that 14 up and you get 5. So you have 2 5s. So whatever this thing is that you're asking about, it was a very major change in your life. Like one of the most major things that's ever happened to you in your life. And the reverse of Temperance would be, living with excess, irregularities, impatience, broken communication, obstacles in your life, and just all around bad luck. And then the Hierophant is in reverse, is basically that you are your own teacher. You're kind of following your own path and not really going with the flow and blindly following the herd, and you're challenging the status quo. And that rebel kind of energy, and it's actually a good card for reclaiming your personal power. So to me, this is basically saying that I'm seeing two very distinct paths for this group. And the first one is maybe you just had so much going on, you weren't communicating correctly, or there was just no communication with this person involved or people involved in this thing. Every way you turned, there was just a roadblock or an obstacle in your way, and you just couldn't make this thing work, or this accident or something happened basically to clear the slate, if I'm being honest. You needed a reset in your life, and this thing that happened to you basically acted as that reset. And it was, again, with the 2 5s, it was a major change. And because of that, you have started to kind of embody this Hierophant in reverse, where you're not just believing everything you've been told and following the herd. You're stepping out of what you had once called your life and realizing that a lot of what you had believed or thought about things just wasn't true. And this has major spiritual awakening vibes for me. So whether your question had to do with spiritual awakening or not, there's an underlying current of spiritual awakening in this. You guys are overcoming those blocks, and you're not feeling so broken and used up and just full of bad luck anymore. You're coming to a place where you're finding that personal power within yourself, and you're going to start using that power to create this really beautiful life. So let's go ahead and check out the oracle cards and see what supporting information we can get from them and any advice we may get. This may not look as pretty, but at least we can hopefully see everything without glare and all that. Okay. This resting tree card goes for me really well with that Temperance in reverse. This is a card all about patience and stillness and giving yourself rest. And with the Temperance reverse, that excess and irregularities and patience, it almost felt like you were just running and running and running. And then finally now you just hit a point where you were just running on empty. You would really benefit from allowing yourself time out to rest, be still, get patient. Because with that Temperance in reverse, there was a lot of impatience surrounding this thing that happened, or just wanting to move on from this thing that happened. You were really impatient and just wanted to brush it under the rug or just move on from it so fast that maybe you just didn't allow yourself to heal from it. And then with the self-forgiveness card, let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child is what it says here. But whatever this thing is that happened to you, you either fully or at least partially blame yourself for its happening. And that is really not serving you. This thing wasn't your fault. Even if you were the one that created this thing or put the ball in motion for this thing to happen, it wasn't your fault. And you beating yourself up about it isn't going to help at all. And even if you know for sure it wasn't your fault, maybe it's on a subconscious level that you're blaming yourself. Like, maybe if I didn't act this way, this guy wouldn't have done this thing. Maybe that's more of a subconscious thing, and that was just an example. This may not even be about a relationship, but I think for some of you it was a relationship that ended, and you're kind of picking yourself apart for your role in this. But then you got the Aurora card. It says you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, but don't descend because others will soon become inspired by your example. So to me, this thing that happened to you, maybe people were really jealous of you. And maybe they're even really jealous of you now because of how far you've come. They see you as this shining light or this person that just really seems to have everything together. But they don't know how hard you've fought and worked to get where you are. And just you being this survivor, this person that's just going to keep driving forward no matter what bad things happen in life, you serve as a great example to other people and inspire other people to do just that. And then you have the Passion card. Trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and career. So for me, it is almost like there are two distinct paths. Some of you have asked about a career, some of you have asked about a relationship or your love life. And then, of course, there are people who didn't ask about any of that. But again, general reading, take what resonates and leave the rest. But because all of this happened to you, it's almost like now you can appreciate things in life that maybe you just kind of took for granted before or just didn't even realize or acknowledge. And you're going to have this passion backing you, and you're going to have this drive to move forward and make your life just this beautiful painting. It's like right now the canvas has a few brush strokes on it, but you're about to set out to just make this an absolute masterpiece, your life. I think for some of you, for a long time, you weren't even holding the paintbrush. You were letting someone else hold the paintbrush and paint on this canvas that is your life. And now you've gotten that paintbrush back in your hand and you're like, listen here, this is my life. This is my canvas. I'm going to be the one making these brush strokes on this canvas. And you're going to make some really beautiful brush strokes. So keep going. And then I see keep dancing and bring humor into your life. And for me, these two go very, very hand in hand. No pun intended with these two holding hands and dancing. And I'm almost a little offended that this clown looks so much like me with this red hair. Sorry, total tangent, but I've only seen this card like one other time, and I'm like, hey, who took my picture? But anyway, that's beside the point. What I'm really seeing with this is if you can find that humor in things or that silver lining, and just even though things feel like they're not moving forward or they're even falling apart at sometimes, just keep dancing. Keep finding the joy in life's little moments. Keep really focusing on that positive and that joy, because that will act like a magnet to bring more of that kind of energy into your life, and it will help you overcome these things. And I do think for a lot of you, this thing that happened or getting past this thing that happened is going to or has required a lot of financial, money coming your way, or a debt you had to pay off in some way. But whatever this thing was, now you're in this flow of where money and resource, and this isn't just money for me, this is resources, time, and effort from other people helping you. So this type of energy is coming to you now, whether it's financial help from friends and family, or just people's time spent listening to you, or just being a friend, or even physically coming to your house and helping you do something. I see for some of you, you have this beautiful support. Even if there aren't very supportive people in your life, which I do feel a lot of you do have a great support system, but for those of you that don't feel like you have that support system, just know that on the other side, you have a really great support system and these guides and angels that are just right there with you. And I say this a lot in my readings, but don't be afraid to ask for help from your spirit team, from your guides, from your angels, from God, whoever you want to call out to. Don't be afraid to say, hey, this thing I want, this thing I need, can you please help me? I can't do it by myself. Because these guides and angels, they can't just step in and take over the wheel and drive the car for you. They, or in my earlier example, paint the strokes for you on your canvas of life. You have to be the one holding the brush. But I like to think, okay, in this painting example, I don't know why I'm doing this painting example, but it's been working, so let's roll with it. You're the one holding that brush, but asking your spirit team for help is almost like you putting on a Bob Ross painting tutorial and you watching Bob do his thing, and you're following his lead. It's almost like that. I mean, in a different way, but I think you get what I'm trying to say here. If you say you need help, that help will come to you. And a lot of times our spirit team can also send human helpers or animal helpers to help us. I've just seen somebody with a GoFundMe, like our spirit team will touch the hearts of those people who can afford to help and will be donating money to you. Or whatever this example is, if you need help going through your house and sorting out and getting rid of things, people are going to be sent to help you. because you've asked for that help from your spirit team, or you've put out that signal that you need help, the help is going to come. So yeah, this thing that happened to you, it does not define you, but it has helped shape you into the person that you are today. And you are a beautiful person, whether you want to believe it or not. Your soul is beautiful. And you yourself have such a beautiful energy and such a passion for life that may have been renewed because this bad thing happened to you. But if you're still in the midst of this bad thing happening, you can take what I have said about all this and apply it into your future. But if this thing has happened years and years ago and you're just asking about it now, maybe you've already gone through a lot of this and have really applied these things to your life and you can see how that has played out. But either way, yeah, I think that this is all I'm getting for you guys, and I really do hope this helped. It's kind of an off the beaten path reading, but I just felt it was needed. I hope this helped you guys, and let me know below what you thought. And thanks again for all your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and all of the things. It really, truly does warm my heart to know that I can help you guys out, even if it's just a little bit. So thank you so much, and I really, truly do hope you come back to the Done Creative. All right, thank you. Bye. Okay, group number 2, let's see why this thing happened to you. And we're going to start with the tarot card, and that will be laying the groundwork for what this thing is that happened to you. And then we'll use the oracle cards to kind of figure out what you can do to heal from this thing or move forward, and just any kind of advice that wants to come through. So, all right, without further ado, let's just get into this. We'll start with the tarot card. And you guys got the Four of Swords in reverse. When the Four of Swords is in reverse, it's all about exhaustion, burnout, just feeling really stagnant in where you're at. You're contemplating things. You may have crashed and burned completely. Maybe you have just put yourself out there, do, work, and you may have completely crashed and burned. This is a card that's just screaming like a red flag. Like, you need to rest, you need to recharge, you need to rethink everything. Withdraw within yourself and retreat within and really listen to your body and your soul, because you can really crash and burn. So whatever this thing that has happened to you was, whatever it was, it really forced you basically to put the brakes on. Realize that, hey, you can't draw from an empty well. You need to recharge yourself and allow yourself to rest before you can just move forward. And then another way you can interpret the Four of Swords reverse would be just a lack of action. Maybe you just have been thinking a lot about things but never took the plunge on anything, and you just feel, going back to that stagnant energy, that real stuck energy. So whatever this thing is that happened to you, it made you feel stuck and burned out and exhausted and just over it. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the oracle cards and see what we're getting for some advice and maybe shedding more light on what this Four of Swords means for you guys. Okay, I hope we can see these. The glare shouldn't hurt anything. This just says quiet time here. So, wow, I mean, this really goes well with what we were saying with the Four of Swords. I know I'm just going to start up here with the Shadow Queen. So it says acquiring knowledge, insecurity, and manipulation. Maybe when you did, after this thing did happen, even if it's still happening to you, you've been forced basically to go within and learn new things about a person, a situation, a place, whatever it is for you. You were forced to go within and really re-examine things. There was some sort of manipulation, and I don't feel like it was on your part. I feel like somebody else, either a work environment or a person you were in a relationship with, has completely manipulated you, and maybe even just the way you think. Gaslighted you into thinking a certain way when your intuition was telling you, no, this is the way it is. And this person maybe manipulated you into thinking, no, it's this way. Or even, I think a lot of this has to do with about yourself. They've manipulated you into thinking maybe you weren't the best person, or you were the one at fault or guilty in some way. But you've used this time since this thing happened, and even if you're still going through it again, you've used this time to acquire knowledge about yourself and about the world around you and about other people. you got watch your thoughts, and it's important to only think about what you desire and not what you fear. So I think a lot of you with this Four of Swords energy and just this complete exhaustion and burnout have really gone to a dark place in your mind and thought the worst about other people, about yourself, and about the situation. Like, that why me? How did this happen? How did I allow this to happen? So there may even be this sense of inner guilt, and you may need to do some self-forgiveness about whatever this thing is. And one way to really get in touch with that and work on that shadow side, because we all have that shadow side, and shadow work can be really, really beneficial, especially when you feel like you're at rock bottom. And I think for a lot of you, this thing that you're asking about was in the past, so you may be not feeling that rock bottom right at this moment, but those of you that are feeling that rock bottom right now, the best way to get out of that is to go into meditation with this quiet time card. And you can even Google on, Google or YouTube shadow work and shadow work meditations, cord cutting meditations to cut cords from this thing that happened to you, or this relationship that ended, or this work situation that ended. Whatever this is for you, again, general reading, take what resonates. But you would really benefit from doing that kind of work, because it will free up all this baggage you've been carrying around and allow that to release, to make room for the things that you actually want in your life. And then you have Isabella card, which says on the card here, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectations. So you either have already started moving on or have already moved on from whatever this thing that happened to you is. A happy outcome follows your positive expectations. So again, going back to the watch your thoughts card, keep your mindset as positive as possible. And I'm not saying that in a way to deny this thing that happened to you or to push it down or anything like that. No. You should allow yourself, even if this thing happened 20, 30, 20 million years ago, it doesn't matter. You're maybe still carrying this thing with you, and it's kind of tainting every new experience you have, especially, like, for example, if this was a relationship that ended, maybe how that relationship dynamic worked or the way it ended or just things about that relationship are tainting your new relationship or relationships you've had since this one ended. So if you can go within quiet time and try to heal the root cause of why this relationship failed or this situation or whatever your question is, if you can get to the root cause of it within and allow yourself to cry, scream, punch a pillow, just allow that to release from you, it's very, very beneficial for you. So in nature, if two animals get into an altercation and they fight, after they're done fighting, doesn't matter win or lose, they'll both go off and they'll just shake. They'll just shake out that adrenaline, that fight and flight kind of mentality. They'll shake it off. And then once it's done, it's done. They don't have that mental loop playing in their mind the way we do as humans. Even if you can, think of this thing that happened to you and if you want to release it, literally just lay on the ground, think of this thing that happened to you and just let the feelings out. Shake your sillies out, shake it all out of your body. And it may sound super silly and super weird and crazy, but it works. It helps get that, at least those roots of that cause of the thing, they're not so entangled under the surface. They're shaken loose a little bit so that you can pull that weed out and get it all the way to the roots so it doesn't come back. And then you have the patience card. So whatever this thing is that happened to you, it's not like you're going to be able to heal this overnight. It's going to be something that takes time and conscious effort on your part to overcome. And so for some of you, this to me even says that it's not just some mental thing that happened to you. It's probably a physical thing. And I just saw someone with like a broken leg or an injury of some sort. So of course you're going to need time for your body to heal. But the card also says your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. They still need nurturing and patience. This one talks about your dreams, and then you got the follow your dreams card here as well. So maybe for some of you guys, there was a dream that you had, but then you realize maybe this dream's never going to come true for me. And that may actually not be the case. That just may be your thinking of this thing that happened to you. Like, say, for instance, it was that relationship that ended, and so now you're thinking, oh, now I'll never find anybody. I'll never be able to have kids. I'll never be able to have a family. You know how our mental loops tend to spiral like that. Just don't allow yourself to spiral. Watch your thoughts. But maybe the dream isn't going to happen in the way that you had originally planned, but that does not mean it won't happen. Because you have this card here, start anew. You have a beautiful new beginning coming out of this, whatever happened to you, energy. It has left you with a new beginning. It may have been a new beginning you weren't ready for or didn't want, but it cleaned the slate for you and you're ready to go. Even if this thing happened a long time ago, you still are surrounded with this new start. Every day you wake up is a new start for you. And you are the one that needs to make the choice that if there's a change you want to make in your life or something you want to go after, a dream you want to realize, you have a new start every single day you wake up. So take that energy with you into this. Heal from the wounds of the past. Be patient and still follow your dreams. But be sure to take quiet time and meditation to heal that shadow self, do that inner work, and watch your thoughts and keep them positive. And I did also say this in the first group, but I think it bears repeating for probably every one of you guys. When you just feel rock bottom, or even if you're fine, but you just feel a little stressed out, you can always, and I mean always, ask your spirit team, God, angels, whoever you want to call to, for help. Just put your literal cards out on the table and say, hey guys, I need some help here. I really could use some help. I need help getting the money for this thing, or being able to communicate with my partner, or whatever it is for you. You can always ask for help, and that help will arrive. It may not always arrive the way you think it's going to, but it always arrives in some way, shape, or form. I think that's all I'm getting for you guys, but again, I think I also said this in group number 1, just realize that this thing that happened to you does not define you, and it does not shape the rest of your life. It did help to shape you into the person you are now, for the better or for the worse, doesn't matter. It helped to shape you, and you did learn lessons from this thing, no matter what it was. Maybe even moving forward, instead of looking back on it as some horrible negative thing that happened, maybe look at it more as an opportunity that happened for you. Maybe not one you wanted or even ever thought you would go through, but look at it as an opportunity for a new, fresh start. Okay guys, I think that's it. So thanks again so much for checking out these readings. I really truly do appreciate all your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and all of the things. And let me know below if this resonated or if it helped you in some way. I really love to hear your guys' stories and what it is you guys are going through and dealing with, because I find a lot of times we're all going through some very similar things. We're just dealing with them, or they're appearing in our lives in different ways. But the underlying energy is usually the same, because of the collective consciousness. So who knows, maybe your comment could actually help somebody else. Thanks again, you guys, and I really truly do hope you come back to the Done Creative. All right, bye. Okay, group number 3, let's see why this thing happened to you. And we're going to start with the tarot card, and that will kind of give us some general, again, remember it's a general reading, so this will give us some general information about what this thing is that happened to you. And then we'll use the oracle cards to figure out maybe some supporting information about this thing that happened to you, but also some ways for you to get past it or to heal from it. So let's see what you got for a tarot card. And you guys got the Two of Pentacles in reverse. This is a card all about being overcommitted or overextending yourself and being disorganized and struggling really hard in basically every area of life, but especially like in a financial way. So maybe you're having a really hard time paying bills or following that budget, but a good way to combat this thing that happened to you is to find some structure or some organization surrounding this thing that happened to you. Budget, down opportunities that just aren't in alignment with your goals and your dreams, because a lot of times we'll say yes even when we already know, oh, I should have said no. I really don't want to do that thing. And then we're not putting our full hearts and attention into this thing. I think for a lot of you guys, what you're asking about has to do with money or resources or material things, but not necessarily. It could be even a relationship that had a major theme of those things running through it that kind of caused this bad, as you see it, bad thing to happen to you. Let's go ahead and use these oracle cards to get more information on what it is you guys are going through. Got a bit of a glare, but this card does say peace of mind at the bottom, so that shouldn't detour from our message here. So we're just going to start here with the River Queen, and this just says flow, letting go, and natural movement. And this is the pretty much opposite of this, how everything is a struggle to move forward and it's hard. This is just really just letting go and flowing. So you would really benefit from whatever this thing that happened to you is. Stop digging in with it so hard and identifying with it so much, and realize that you can let go and flow with what has happened. That is so much easier said than done. It's simple, but it is not easy. A lot of times this even looks like losing people in our lives, relationships and even acquaintances that, we lose because of certain things that happen. Maybe we move jobs or move across the country or break up with somebody, so the people that associated with that person are no longer in our lives. Sometimes that can be just as painful as, like, say, a breakup itself, losing that person's family and friend circle and just the way you did things with these people. I'm almost wondering if a lot of you guys, this isn't having to do with some sort of relationship. And I'm not just seeing like as a romantic, but like I'm even seeing like a mother energy and friends. But again, it could be the gamut of relationships. Even if your question has nothing to do with the relationship, there are relationship dynamics within this thing that happened to you that are affecting you, and that's why that's coming through, I think. You got the yes card, and it says your intuition is correct. Take action accordingly. So whatever this thing that happened to you is, I think maybe even some of you are beating yourself up for allowing it to happen because you saw it coming a mile away. Or you knew from the start, oh, this doesn't feel good. I shouldn't do this thing. And I think with a lot of you, that saying no, like overextending yourself and not setting those boundaries. Boundaries, that's what I'm really getting. But you are now coming to a place where you know your boundaries, you know your limits, and you know how much is too much when it comes to other people invading in that space. And then with the peace of mind card, I see this fairy here out in nature, and when I think peace of mind, I think meditation, waterfalls, nature. So you'd really benefit from getting out in nature. And then with these three cards here, you have a lot of green, and then even this with this blue-green, kind of blue-green. So it almost feels like heart and throat chakra, like bouncing between the two, like using your heart to communicate what it is that you really want. And maybe that was a very hard thing for you to do in the past, to communicate what was on your heart. And that may even be a central theme of what this thing that happened to you was. That you couldn't tell people no, that you couldn't tell people where you were really coming from, or that those things weren't in alignment with the way you wanted to live your life. And so you basically got taken for a ride with this person or situation that you didn't want to be on, is what I'm seeing. So yeah, you would really benefit from going within and really asking yourself all those burning questions that maybe you just wanted to sweep under the rug or not deal with. But meditation brings answers, it brings healing. And I did say this, I think it was group number 1 with the cord cutting meditation or shadow work, because I see some guilt with you guys, like you're harboring guilt or shame about, how did I ever allow this thing to happen to me? Or if this is something that you were the cause of, why did I let this thing happen? Whatever it is for you, again, take what resonates and leave the rest. But you can Google or look on YouTube shadow work meditation, cord cutting meditation. Stuff along those lines will really help you get in touch with the root cause of what happened. Or with the cord cutting meditations, you can actually cut the energetic cords that are holding you to this thing that happened. So then you have the opal card. Your children on earth and in heaven are happy and well cared for by God and the angels. Of course, if you have children here on earth, that's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm seeing two other avenues here. I almost feel like one, maybe two people that are watching this pile have had miscarriages or just fertility issues in general. And the souls of the babies that you have lost, or the souls of the babies that are coming to you, are in heaven. They're healthy, they're happy, and they're watching out for you. So if you did lose a baby or are just desperately wanting a baby, the soul or souls of those children are still with you and will be with you. And then you have the all is well card. So whatever this thing is that happened, all is well. Everything happens exactly as it's supposed to. And there are hidden blessings and messages in the things that happen to us. And we don't always understand why these things happen, but I think a lot of you, if you can think back to probably the worst thing that's ever happened to you, at least because now you've had some distance from this thing, time does tend to heal, maybe not completely, but it does heal some. And when you get some distance from this thing that's happened to you, you can look back and see why it happened even sometimes, or how this thing having happened has actually put you on the right path in life, or made you maybe even appreciate the things in your life that you do have now. As an example, again, I'm going to go back to relationships, but maybe this really horrible narcissistic relationship ended, and then right after that, or a couple years after that or something, you found somebody who was like the exact opposite of that. And because you went through that horrible relationship, you can now truly appreciate the person that you have now, or the person that will be coming to you, because you did go through the worst of the worst and you realized how bad it can be. And then when you have it good, you can be like, wow, I truly appreciate this person. And you can show that person how much you care. And then you have examine your personal interactions. So this for me goes completely both ways. So the way you interact with others and the way people interact with you. All relationships in our life are a mirror for how we're feeling on the internal. Even if it's not on our conscious mind, at least on a subconscious level, things are basically reflecting from our inner to our outer. You can easily tell how things are going in your life by just taking a look at how well things are going in your external life. If all your relationships are falling apart and your house is so cluttered you don't even know where to start, that tells you a lot about your inner environment. You're not taking the best care of yourself if your relationships with other people aren't the best as well. And if your mind is really, really cluttered, oftentimes your surroundings in your home become really, really cluttered. That, it literally reflects like a mirror, your inner to your outer. And then you have the connect with your soul family card. Because this thing happened to you, and I'm getting this for quite a few of you, because this thing happened to you, it puts you on this trajectory or path to where you were actually meeting people from your soul family. So this thing that happened to you actually acted as a trigger to bring in more people from your soul family into your life. Who doesn't want soul family connections? Like, that's awesome. When you can connect with soul family, and if you don't know what soul family is, they're basically souls. They go from life to life to life in a group. And it can be just a couple of people or hundreds of people, thousands, like who knows? It could be any number of people who you've had other lifetimes with and experienced other things with in other lifetimes that are now here in your life to help you learn lessons in this life. And this is the really kind of crazy thing. A lot of times those people that play those really bad guys in our lives actually are soul family members that took one for the team to play the role of bad guy to really help you grow. And then when this life is over and you go back to wherever it is we come from, you will realize, that amnesia will lift, and you will realize that this horrible narcissistic relationship you had, again, just an example, was one of your like best friends on the other side. And now that all is said and done, you guys can just sit back and laugh about it and like, okay, now next time it's my turn to be the bad guy. I believe, and I know a lot of people do believe, that we don't just incarnate and then die. Like, we have a set of things that we want to accomplish, karma we want to burn off or deal with in this life, really good things that we want to experience as well. Because if we wanted everything to be just la-di-da, roses and rainbows and butterflies all the time, we wouldn't have even incarnated, because we can just experience joy and pure bliss on the other side. We incarnate to experience things that are less than perfect when we're on this side of the veil. So just know that these bad things that happen are opportunities, and it's hard not to put a negative spin or connotation on these horrible things that happen in life that we just don't want to deal with. But just realize that they didn't happen to you to punish you in any way. They were brought to you most likely by your own soul, because your own soul wanted to experience going through this thing and getting over this thing, so you can experience something, so your soul can grow and evolve. Because again, if it didn't want to grow or evolve, it just stayed on the other side and la-di-da, you know. But yeah, a lot of you guys, because of this thing that happened, have connected with your soul family and will continue to connect with your soul family. And I think for some of you even, this has to do with spiritual awakening. And I did see that pretty clearly with, I think, group number 1. It's funny because I think group number 1 had elements of every single one of the other readings within it. So I have a feeling a lot of people chose group number 1 and another pile. It's so funny how that works. I'm actually curious, if you did choose this pile and group number 1, let me know. I just want to see if you're one of these people I'm getting that energy of. I do see, with this examine your personal interactions, again, if you can kind of look at things more from a soul perspective and realize we're all just playing this game called life. We take it so seriously while we're here, but when we're on the other side, it's almost like we can laugh about how seriously we took everything, because this here that we're experiencing here is the game, is the dream. Our real existence, our real selves is when we're on the other side. So if you can go through life thinking in those terms, it really helps us not to personally attach to every little mean thing people say or every little horrible thing that happens to us. It just makes it so much easier to move on. Because I don't know if you know how they say, oh, you got up on the wrong side of the bed, that saying. Well, say you get up and you're not in the best mood. So you get up out of bed and you stub your toe, and it seems like it's like a domino effect of horrible happenings from that point of stubbing your toe forward. You hit every red light on the way to work. Your coworker's a mean head. Stuff like that. Say you had woken up in a good mood and you stubbed your toe and you're like, oh, ouch, that hurt. And then you like breathe it off and walk it off and get over it. And then you smile at yourself in the mirror as you're brushing your teeth. Like, you can stop that runaway train if you can just get a handle on those thoughts before they take root and just completely ruin the rest of your day. And I'm seeing that with a lot of you guys. Maybe your whole life has been that way, where it just seemed like a series of unfortunate events. And I don't mean to laugh like, oh, I laugh like from a soul perspective. It's like you're playing one of those Sims games, and your soul is you as the person playing the game, and the Sims themselves are all the humans here interacting and doing these things in life. And we don't take it so seriously when we're that removed from it. So when we do go back to the other side, we don't look at these things as life and death, because there is no death. There is no such thing as death. There's just transformation and rebirth, basically. So yeah, I think I'm maybe getting off tangent here a little with this whole soul family thing, but again, if that doesn't resonate, just take what resonates and leave the rest. You guys, I think this is all I'm getting for you guys, but let me know down in the comments what you thought. And thanks again so much for all your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and all the things. I really, truly do appreciate each and every one of you. And I really hope you come back to the Done Creative. Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, group number 4, let's see why this thing happened to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the tarot card as kind of the thing that happened to you, and then we'll use the oracle cards as supporting information on this thing that happened to you, and maybe some hints and advice on how to overcome this thing. So, okay. And you guys got the Queen of Swords in reverse. And basically the Queen of Swords in reverse, it can go either way. It can be overly emotional or really cold-hearted, you know, the B word. This card is somebody who is easily influenced by others. You put your heart before your head a lot of times and you're just too emotionally involved, or you even allow others to just dominate you and negatively affect your decision-making ability. As an example, like a narcissist using like a gaslighting technique, like talking you out of your feelings and making them see things their way at complete expense of how you feel about anything. One way to overcome this thing that happened to you and this energy of this Queen of Swords in reverse would be to be more assertive, find your voice, be confident and objective in the situation, and don't just let your emotions overrun you and run away with what has happened. And because this is blue, I'm seeing throat chakras, so communication or just not being able to speak your feelings or your truth or to tell other people, hey, that's not what I want, that's not benefiting me. Just speaking your own truth is, I'm seeing a big theme of the problem of this thing that has happened to you. And again, general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest, and we're going to get more information from our oracle cards. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. To me, this goes two ways, but again, it could be anything in between. I'm seeing a relationship for some of you that has ended or just is very rocky at this time. I'm seeing this as an ended past relationship for a lot of you. And then for others, I'm seeing this as a self-worth and like health and healing kind of health and wellness angle. And it could be both or neither of those things, but stand by, we're getting to the good stuff. So we're just going to start up here with this spiral dancer. Oh, and before I do get started, I'm seeing a lot of pink and a lot of green. So to me, pink and green are both colors associated with that heart chakra. Maybe you've had to close your heart off because you've just been hurt so many times. Or maybe you're still just so open-hearted that you just still allow yourself to get walked all over and you put yourself last. Because with the accept, love, and worthiness card, and we're gonna start here and get back to these, but I'm seeing this major theme already of not loving yourself and not accepting love from others, but yet at the same time, you're giving so much love to everybody else. So hang with me because we're going to come back to this whole thing. This here says circuitous route and perception. And then you have a 5. This is the number 5 here on the spiral dancer card. So to me, this is all about cycles, continuing until you are ready to break the cycle of whatever this thing is. This could have been things that you grew up learning or listening to or believing. Now you're the one breaking the cycle. And I just saw the word abuse. So this could have to do with past abuse. You being abused as a child, either physically, verbally, emotionally, whatever that means for you. And it may not have been your parents or grandparents or any of that. It could have been bullies at school. So just take what resonates for you. But I'm just seeing these cycles replaying on loop, like over and over. And it's not just in one area of life, like say relationships, maybe even in jobs. Like you get this job and it's going so well. And then you find out like a couple months in that your position is no longer needed. So they're letting you go. They liked you, but they're letting you go. You know, things like that. And you just almost sometimes feel like you have attracted all these things to yourself and you're like this complete bad luck charm at times. And if that doesn't resonate, I'm getting to something else here too. So hold on, bear with me. That, I think, for a lot of you is kind of how you feel about yourself. And then with the worthiness card, you are so deserving of love and you deserve to receive good in all ways. But I think because you have felt so unlovable, unworthy, it's been very hard for you to open yourself up to receive love, financial support, help, just abundance in general. You've had a really hard time feeling like you deserve abundance. And on the surface, your ego may say, well, of course I want abundance and know I deserve abundance. But I'm talking more even on a subconscious level where belief systems you grew up with, again, whether imposed by your family or just people at school bullying you or just society at large, the way you see society, you don't feel like you are worthy of these things, but you are. And to me, it's like you're coming out of this. So don't feel like, oh, this is all doom and gloom. No, this is just where you have been, just feeling very unworthy. But you're going places, people. You guys are going places, so don't worry. So then we're going to get to detoxification. Of course, the general meaning of detoxification, you think health, like detoxing your body to get yourself really healthy, or detoxing from drugs. So if you are an addict or are in some sort of rehab or detox, keep going with that. But if you are still struggling with that because maybe that is part of what it is, this bad thing that's happened to you, maybe you have been an addict or just really let your health get away from you, or you've allowed yourself to gain weight or something like that. Once you can deem yourself worthy in your own subconscious, in your own heart, and you can start to accept love, and you put out that signal that, yes, I'm ready to heal my life of all these wounds, that's when things are just really going to take off for you guys. Once you can get that self-love under your belt, it's like a whole new world opens up for you guys, and you realize, I can do these hard things that I've been telling myself with that negative mindset that I can't do. Or you've been so overly emotional about that you can't get out of your feelings and you just are consumed by them to where they overrun your life. Make it so you can't find another way because you just keep going back to, this thing happened to me, I can't believe this thing happened to me. And I don't want to call it a victim mentality, but that's kind of like the closest thing to what I'm trying to say here. It's like a lot of you guys, there's some changes that need to be made or that had to be made in the past that have completely affected you. And again, with that 5, change is a pretty big theme of this as well. Either you've gone through these changes already, or you're making these changes to love yourself more, take better care of your body, do some self-care routines and all of that. That will greatly help you overcome this thing that happened to you. And then you have the Archangel Michael card, and he's one of my main guides, so I always love to see when he pops up in these readings. But he says here on the card, I am with you, giving you the courage to make life changes that will help you work on your divine life purpose. So yeah, back to changes. So whatever this thing is that happened to you, this thing is something you definitely signed up for, like on a soul level, to experience so that you could overcome this thing and imagine a life that you just never even dreamed of. And in you doing that, you're going to inspire other people to do the same for themselves. With this Choose to Heal card, healing isn't something that just happens to us. Like say you break your leg or you have a cold or something, of course your body will take over and heal that thing for you, as long as you're giving it the care it needs. You know, if you properly go to a doctor and have the bones set and everything, your body will do the work. Your body does the work. You don't have to physically get in there and do that work and toil away at those little cells that are healing and doing what cells do. In this reading, the healing you're going to be doing is something you need to choose to do for yourself on a very conscious level. One way to get in touch with, even because a lot of times so many of us are walking around, we feel so burdened and so heavy, and we can't always point to exactly one thing that happened to make us feel that way. It's just we're carrying around so many burdens and we haven't healed them. So one great way to try to get to the root cause of what is ailing us is to get into meditation. And I think I've said this with every other group, but I think it bears repeating because it is so important. Choose to do the shadow work through meditation. And you can even do cord cutting, like cutting past relationship, jobs, situations that are still energetically connected to you and basically sucking your life force. So if an example, and I think I've used this example in every other reading, but it's just an easy example because we all know what this is and we've all been there, I think. But say you were in a bad relationship and that relationship will continue to taint every relationship you're in until you heal it. But one great way to literally get to the root cause of this thing to heal it is to do a cord cutting meditation. So you can YouTube or Google cord cutting meditation and shadow work meditation, and even look into subliminals to help reprogram yourself to know you're worthy. You can Google or YouTube self-love subliminal, and you'll probably find quite a few of those things, because I think a major theme for you guys is just knowing you're lovable, you're worthy, and loving yourself. You haven't loved yourself enough. But when you consciously choose to heal yourself, to heal from this thing that happened to you, it's like you're back in the driver's seat. You took back all your control and power, and will be no stopping you. Because the Queen of Swords upright, that's such a go-getter, just awesome energy. And then when you can start to do this, and I think a lot of you already are highly intuitive and sensitive. This card here says you are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. And yeah, again, going back to that Queen of Swords, just so much emotion, just so much emotion. But with the sensitivity card, you guys are gifted, spiritually gifted, like clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, claircognizant. You guys know things, you see things, you feel things, you hear things others don't hear. And the more you can heal from this thing that happened to you and these wounds in your life, the more those spiritual gifts are going to amplify and come online for you to use and be beneficial for your life even more. For you guys, whatever this thing is that happened to you, it has really affected your worthiness. You either already have started down this path of self-love, recovery from old belief systems, and detoxifying your whole world, basically, or you're going to soon be doing this thing where you're just healing everything, and you're really going to be opening your heart, not just to others, because I think you guys have always opened your heart to others, but you're going to start opening to yourself. And that's when, I see these rose petals coming down from one hand to another. It's like, make it rain. It's like, that's when your abundance is just going to go into overdrive, and you're just going to have so much love, money, abundance coming into you that you have just this overwhelming desire to just share that with everybody. And you're going to make such a beautiful impact in the world. And then going back to this Archangel Michael card with the divine life purpose. So whatever this is that happened to you, it's part of your life purpose. It's part of why you're here. And if you hadn't gone through this thing, you never would have gotten to this level of healing and discovering who you are that you have. You can thank this horrible thing that happened to you. Thank it for the opportunity it was. Cut those cords, choose to heal, love yourself, and move on, and just make the most beautiful life for yourself, because so much abundance is coming. When you can get on the other side of this coin, so much abundance is coming to you. So yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing for you guys, but I hope this resonated. You'll have to let me know below what it is you guys have going on. I love to see your comments, and I know other people reading comments, sometimes you may spark something in them to where what you say actually helps somebody. So don't be afraid to speak your truth. Use that throat chakra with that blue and speak that truth. And you can start by making a comment and letting others know that it's okay to feel safe and love themselves and detoxify themselves of the things that aren't serving them in life. So yeah, I think that's all I'm getting for you guys, which I already said like 2 times probably, but I'm just so excited for you guys. You guys have been through a lot. I'm excited for the road that you're on now, the healing that you're going through, because once you can get on the other side of this, there is no stopping you guys. Thanks again so much for checking this out. I truly do appreciate all your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and all the things, and I really hope to see you back here at The Done Creative. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Bye.